This is going to be a huge weekend in comic books. Not only are the Comics Aficionados going to be live right here Saturday morning, as we always are at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but it's free comic book day. This Saturday, it's going to be the first real traditional free comic book day since the pandemic began. Today, I'm going to cover free comic book day. We're going to do a preview. We're going to talk about the comic books that are available, the ones that I personally am recommending, and why I'm recommending them. I got comic books for all ages to talk about here. If you're a father or a mother looking for a comic book that's okay for your kids, I'm going to cover that. If you're looking for something a little bit more action-oriented, more for adults, I'm going to cover that as well. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite publishers, some of the things from Marvel and DC and why they're least interesting. I don't know if they're going to be good, but they are newsworthy. We've talked about a few of those things here on the channel. So let's get to it. Let's talk about free comic book day, what's out there, and what you should be looking for this Saturday. So these are the offerings for free comic book day. This is the website and the catalog. You will see gold comics and you will see silver comics. There's about 3 times as many silver comics as gold. As far as I can tell, gold comics does not mean that these are the best of the best. Apparently there's some type of vote between about 30, I guess, retailers that are influential. And these are the ones that they voted for. So they are gold sponsored comic books. That does not mean the quality is better. These are just the ones that they're promoting higher. There are 11 of these in total. You're going to have your publishers like Marvel, Image, Boom, the bigger publishers in the comic book industry, as well as your Viz Media and even some Scholastic stuff. Obviously, manga and Scholastic. Comics for little kids are absolutely dominating right now. They're going to have some options for you. Here in the silver comics, you're going to have some more Marvel stuff, maybe another option for Image Comics as well. And some of the smaller publishers out there. This list definitely has some of the better comics to talk about. Now let's talk about the offerings on Free Comic Book Day that I'm actually recommending and why. Obviously, if you're looking towards something else, let us know in the comments section. Just because it's something I'm not looking forward to doesn't mean it's not good, and maybe other people are looking forward to it. Definitely leave your opinions in the comments section. Let's have a conversation and get people ready for Free Comic Book Day. First up is a sampler from Dav Pilkey. If you don't know who Dav Pilkey is, I don't know where you've been sleeping, but this is essentially the biggest selling comic book creator in the world today. When you look at the best selling comic books in America, Dav Pilkey absolutely dominates it. He dominates all the other publishers kind of combined when you think about traditional publishers, Marvel, DC, whatnot. This comic book has Captain Underpants, Dogman, and Cat Kid. Captain Underpants, we've seen that character around, got some cartoons, whatnot. Dogman happens to be my son, my 6-year-old son's very favorite comic book in the world. He's got a volume of 8 Dogman comics. He's read them all. He loved them all. Cat Kid, I believe, is a spinoff of Dogman. This is written and illustrated by Dav Pilkey himself. Laugh out loud with this super fun Dav Pilkey Sampler. This free comic book day exclusive includes fan favorite moments from the worldwide best-selling Dogman, Cat Kid, and Captain Underpants comic series. If you have kids and you would like to get them interested in comic books and you're not comfortable giving them anything from Marvel and DC, I do not blame you. Get them this. They will absolutely love it, especially the Dogman stuff, and you're likely to be out about $150 in Dogman comics within the next month because these are really fun. If you have kids and you want to get into comics, this is the way to go. Next up, we've got Kaiju number 8, as well as Sakamoto Days. This is Viz Media. Manga is absolutely enormous right now. This is what Viz Media are putting out, and I can tell you right now, I haven't finished Kaiju number 8, but I'm well into it at this point, and I can tell you this is a fantastic comic book. If you're not into manga, or maybe you're apprehensive, but you're looking for an alternative to regular comic books as you know them, I think this is a good place to go check it out. See if maybe you can be interested or are interested in manga itself. Kaiju number 8, Kafka wants to clean up kaiju, but not literally. Will a sudden metamorphosis stand in the way of his dream? With the highest kaiju emergence rates in the world, Japan is no stranger to attack by deadly monsters. Enter the Japan Defense Force, a military organization tasked with the neutralization of kaiju. Kafka Hibino, a kaiju corpse cleanup man, has always dreamed of joining the force, but when he gets another shot at achieving his childhood dream, he undergoes an unexpected transformation. How can he fight kaiju now that he's become one himself? Go to your comic shop, give this guy a little taste. See if maybe you are into manga, because Shonen Jump is only $2 a month, people. It is the best value in all of comic books, and Kaiju number 8 is going to be a nice little gateway, a little segue into opening your world into new horizons regarding comic books and manga. This thing is absolutely dynamite. Next up, we have Marvel Comics Spider-Man Venom #1, Free Comic Book Day, Al Ewing, Ram V, Zeb Wells, Brian Hitch on the art. We know that this is going to be setting up this dark web event that's going to be going on in Spider-Man. It's also going to include Madeline Pryor and Chasm, and obviously Venom as well. Announced last week, Spider-Man is gearing up for a brand new era just in time for the character's 60th anniversary. Fans who pick up Free Comic Book Day Spider-Man Venom #1 will see the very beginning of the major storylines writer Zeb Wells and legendary artist John Romita Jr. have planned for their run on Amazing Spider-Man, including Tombstone's first steps towards becoming Spidey's most terrifying villain. We'll see what happens with Amazing Spider-Man. I still have faith in Zeb Wells. Also coming from Marvel Comics, this is going to be a little bit more infamous. Free Comic Book Day Avengers X-Men #1. Now, this is going to be infamous because it's hinting at Moira skinning Mary Jane alive. I've talked about that here on the channel. That is going to be the big cliffhanger in this comic book. It's kind of weird. Free Comic Book Day used to be to celebrate comic books and get kids interested in comic books. Obviously, Marvel and DC, for the most part, use it for different reasons now. A lot of times it's to jumpstart the events that are going to be kicking off like during the summer and into the end of the year. Here we're getting Judgment Day. DC Comics will be getting Dark Crisis, no shocker. Although DC Comics are offering some comics that are more all ages and specifically designed for teenagers, Marvel Comics are shooting for shock factor and comics that really probably aren't appropriate for children. Next up, this is one of my favorite publishers. If you're not reading Vault Comics, they have been outstanding for about 3, maybe 4 years now. These are more genre-specific comics. You're not going to get a lot of superhero fare here, but what you will get is really cool sci-fi stories and really cool fantasy stories and really cool horror stories. This is the best thing Vault's got going right now. It's going to be kicking off again in 2022. Barbaric by Michael Moriarty. Owen the Barbarian has been cursed to do his good with what remains of his life. His bloodthirsty weapon, axe, has become his moral compass with a drinking problem. Together they wander the realm, foredoomed to help any who seek assistance. But there's one thing Owen hates more than life with rules: witches. Welcome to the skull-cracking, blood-splattering, mayhem-loving comic brave enough to ask, how can a man sworn to do good do so much violence? Ha, messing with you. It's just Barbaric. This series is absolutely awesome. If you haven't read Barbaric yet, definitely pick this up. But also, while you're there, go in the trade section and get the Barbaric Volume 1. It is really funny. If you like fantasy with some horror elements to it, with a lot of laughs, you're going to love this comic book. Michael Moriarty is an absolute gem. He's done great things at Marvel and DC. It's their loss that he's in here doing stuff like this, but it's all good for us because he's knocking it out of the park with Barbaric. This thing is absolutely dynamite. Another comic book that I've been looking forward to in 2022 is the follow-up to Nottingham. We've already gotten the very first issue. If you haven't discovered Nottingham from Mad Cave Studios, this thing is quite simply badass. David Dazan, Andrea Moody. This is a new take on Robin Hood. I really like the take on it. The new direction that they're taking in 2022 with the second volume has been fantastic so far. Obviously, it's only been one issue. This is a new story that takes place between Volume 1 and Volume 2. A very Merry Christmas. All eyes are on Everett Blackthorne, the sheriff of Nottingham, when his predecessor is murdered in cold blood. It's business as usual for Ev, with Hood and the merry men pulling the strings, and a terrible choice to make as the lives of Alan Dale's wife and son hang in the balance. This special issue of Nottingham and this free comic does contain exclusive original material. Like with Barbaric, go get this, get you the Volume 1 of Nottingham, as well as Nottingham #7, and you are going to thank me, because this is a badass series with great, and I do mean phenomenal art. You're going to really like this one. Next up, Free Comic Book Day, Sonic the Hedgehog from IDW, Ian Flynn, Adam Bryce Thomas. My son is an enormous Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and these IDW Sonic titles are actually pretty good, especially the mainline one. Sonic's racing into a brand new adventure with his best buds and co-stars of the hit new movie, Tails and Knuckles by his side, but Sonic's not the only super speedster in town. Get caught up with everything you need to know about Sonic's evil counterpart, Surge, before she and Sonic go head-to-head in the epic issue #50, a story years in the making. So if your kids like Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, maybe they like the sequel, they're probably going to like this comic book. It's a lot of fun. The art is really good, and it is kid-friendly. There's not going to be any weird stuff in this one. And I can tell you right now, my son, who likes Sonic, thought this was great. So if you got kids and you're looking for something they might be interested in, this is a good comic book. Next up, this is my Dark Horse sleeper. If you don't know this, Ablaze are like the best comic publisher in American comic books right now. Pound for pound, nobody can touch them. What they do is normally they go to the European market and they essentially curate the very best comic books that they can get their hands on. They translate the material and they release it as normal comic books. Maybe they're 4 or 5 years old on the European market, but they're new to American audiences, and they are absolutely phenomenal comic books. This one here is actually from the Filipino comic book market. Many of you know I actually live here in the Philippines. So this is Trese, the award-winning Filipino comic, now hit Netflix anime series, foul play, magic spells, supernatural criminals. When the case takes a turn for the weird, the police call Alexander Trese. The Trese 2022 Free Comic Book Day comic features a preview of the forthcoming Trese Volume 4, last seen after midnight, along with bonus material on the comic, including some of Alexandra's journal entries chronicling her creature encounters and more. It also includes a sneak peek at the Art of Trese anime, featuring art, sketches, photos, interviews, and more from making of the Netflix anime series. If you aren't on the Ablaze bandwagon yet, I think you should probably check this one out, see what they're all about. You might want to go pick this one up, then go check out the section with the Ablaze trades. Maybe you can get one of those Sumerian trades, because that thing is absolutely amazing. Everything that Ablaze puts out is at a minimum really good, and I have a feeling this is going to be excellent. Now let's talk about DC. They're a little bit different. As I mentioned, they're no longer distributed by Diamond Comics. They are through Lunar, so their setup's a little bit different, but they still have the trade dress and whatnot. Some of you might say, but Marvel's going through Penguin Random House, but Diamond are still a wholesaler of Marvel Comics, which they aren't for DC. And here we're getting the Dark Crisis Special Edition, the number 0 issue to get people ready for Dark Crisis. If you're ready for the event and you're excited, I think you should probably check it out. It is going to have Josh Williamson, Daniel Sampere as well. But what DC are doing that Marvel aren't, which I think is much more in the spirit of Free Comic Book Day, they're offering a book for teens, which is essentially a sneak peek at Galaxy, the Prettiest Star, if you're into that kind of comic book, as well as an offering for middle grade graphic novels with the League of Super Pets. I like that DC are taking this direction rather than just introducing people to all their events. Yes, they are leading up into Dark Crisis, but they're also celebrating what Free Comic Book Day is supposed to be, getting kids interested in comic books. So if you got little kids, I think League of Super Pets will likely be something they enjoy. DC did have a really good YA graphic novel called Primer that is still selling very well. So there is a chance that Galaxy, the Prettiest Star, will be good as well. That will do it, folks. I hope you're ready for Free Comic Book Day 2022. It's this Saturday. Make sure you tune in here first for the comics aficionados, and then go to your comic shop and get some of these wonderful comic books. Definitely pick up Barbaric. Definitely get Nottingham. You're definitely going to want that Ablaze comic as well. Now, this isn't the only time I've ever talked about Free Comic Book Day. In fact, not that long ago, I talked to my good friend Perch, and we talked about the truth behind Free Comic Book Day and what it really means for retailers, why you should support them, and why you shouldn't go in there and pick up comic books that you're not going to read, because they aren't free to the retailers.